Hi, I'm Bill Lustig, the director and co-producer of the film you're about to see.
This is Fred, the Hammer Williamson.
Hi, this is Frank Pesh, one of the actors in the movie.
I don't know about you guys.
This is Robert Forster, and I'm in it also.
That's me doing my thing, prepping you, getting you ready and inspired for this forthcoming movie. Check it out.
This was the first scene that we shot. We shot this about a month before we started principal photography. Fred flew in from Los Angeles to New York, and we wanted to shoot a promo for the upcoming MIFED, Milan Film Festival, and this is the scene that we chose for the film. And
the timing was right for this kind of dialogue, too. The dialogue was right on about vigilante and what was happening in society at that time, about people helping themselves and not just counting on the law enforcement to take care of it. People have to police their own society and neighborhood.
This was the idea for this picture came at the time. It was a very hot topic. In the there was a guy in New Jersey who was taking the law into his own hands, and he became quite controversial. There were articles in Newsweek, Time.
Is that why you hired me? Because I was controversial? I mean, that's why you hired me to do this part?
Fred, you don't know. I was such in awe of you because I had spent so many years on 42nd Street and.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, Bill. I can fully understand that.
I remember my brother and I going to see Bucktown and.
Did you pay? Did you sneak in or did you pay? That's all.
No, we paid.
This is Frank. I got to tell you something right now about this opening of this movie. It's drove me crazy. I had the script before, and I'm reading the script, and Lustig has made Maniac, which he goes totally insane. He's scalping people, and he's killing all the most gruesome ways, whatever. So he has this vigilante, and he's going to do the same thing. And the opening scene, Fred Williamson gives the speech. And in the original script, Bill, his dialogue says, we're going to take care of those punks that are on the street, and if they got guns, we're going to have guns too. And if they don't want to mess around, we'll blow their fucking heads off. And boom, the movie starts. That's what it said in the script. Lustig, of all people, changes it. I was shocked when he did that.
What did he do?
He changed it to something like, what does he say? We'll kick the shit out of them, or what?
Well, he didn't really change that, Frank.
But you changed, we're going to blow their fucking heads off.
No, I wrote it. I helped rewrite it. I mean, the words didn't fit in my mouth. I don't talk like you, Frank.
All right, well,
words,
I just think...
The words did not fit in my mouth.
Well, I thought that would get the movie out of the gate with, and I was like shocked that, this is the movie you could do that in.
Seeing me got it out of the gate, Frank.
All right.
I think that's one of the strongest scenes in the. I love that scene. It really sets the attitude.
It's a good opener. It's lit well. It's directed well. I mean, it's great.
One of the things Frank contributed to the picture, aside from acting, is he also was the casting director, or I guess I would call him our West Coast casting director.
How did that happen, Frank?
Oh my
Well,
God.
I don't want to make a long story short, Fred. Bill was having problems. I can't mention the other guy's names with some guy, and he couldn't get him. And I knew this girl that worked for
make
an
it short,
agent, and he
please.
did Bob Forster.
Please.
I went and got a hold of him and said, Bill, what about Bob Forster? So it's great. Can you get him? And he got him. And then Bill says, oh, Frank, I'm having problems again with another guy. I won't mention his name. And I says, Bill, I know Fred Williamson. I see him all the time.
Did
I
you
didn't
really,
know.
did
I
you
didn't-
really know Fred?
I saw him at this disco, Carlos and Charlie's, and I
I'm
used
at the
to,
bar all the time.
right? And I would just be lurking around. But I figured, hey, I'll go over and talk to him. What's he gonna do? Kill me? I went over and said, look.
If you ask nice, you won't.
I told him, this is my friend's doing a movie. Come to my house and talk to him on the phone. He came there, they spoke on the phone. And Bill got his two leads, Fred Williamson and Robert Forster. That's how they got in the picture.
From Frank Pesh.
Wow.
Oh, that's what I had to do to get in the picture.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll never forget it, Frank.
Well, Fred, just,
I was so delighted when Bob agreed to do the picture, because I was a fan of Bob's from Medium Cool, and the film I was the biggest fan of was that film Alligator, which was one of the best movies I had seen, one of the best B movies I had ever seen, which I really loved, directed by Louis T. and written by John Sayles.
A good picture. First week I was in New York, I heard the story about the alligator, and I thought about it for 15 years. And then here somebody hands me this script, and that's what it's about. But back to Vigilante.
This film, my first picture was a picture called Maniac, and that film was shot in 16 millimeter and blown up to 35. And when I went around to theaters to watch it, it played in a lot of the big downtown theaters. So when I set out to do this movie, Vigilante, I decided I was going to shoot the film in a format that would fill up the screen in these big downtown theaters. So I went in the total opposite direction and went to shoot the film 35 millimeter CinemaScope. And so it wouldn't look like a postage stamp in the middle of the screen.
How long did it take you to shoot the movie?
Oh, God.
4 weeks, 5 weeks? Oh,
No,
you-
this film took a while. This was a tough picture.
What are we talking about? Vigilante now?
Yeah, Vigilante.
Okay. How?
Oh, God, I don't actually remember how long it took, but it was a pretty stretched out time. There's a sequence later on which turned out to be a scene that took a lot longer to shoot than it should have. This was shot in Queens, New York, that's the city skyline in the background. The dialogue that was in here was written by Randy Jurgensen, who was the associate producer and also kind of a technical advisor. This was some dialogue that he had heard from some rape victim, and he gave it to us to put into the scene.
Randy Jurgensen, famous cop, yes?
He was the cop who was the model for the Al Pacino part in Cruising. He was the actual undercover cop that was based on. He was also in The French Connection. And I love these locations. I mean, they're not shot at, this movie wasn't shot in Los Angeles. These are locations that only exist in the boroughs of New York.
Chicago has a little of this atmosphere. Too.
Yeah, Chicago is great.
I love Chicago.
We had a good time in Chicago.
Yes, we moved right there a couple of times.
Didn't you lose your
Super
Super Bowl
That's
ring
a deal.
in New York?
Yeah.
During this picture.
During
Yeah,
this
that's right.
picture?
During this picture, I had my Super Bowl ring. I was staying at a very popular hotel. I put my ring and watch inside my coat pocket while I went to work for you, Bill Lustig. And I came home late one night because you kept us longer than you should have. And I went into my room and found that my ring and my watch had been stolen. And so I said, well, they can't do that to the Hammer. I mean, don't they know who I am? You can't come into my room and take my stuff. You
Was
must
that
be
ring
crazy.
Super Bowl I or Super Bowl II?
Super Bowl I. So I
Super
went down.
Bowl I ring.
Immediately got cleaned up and dressed, went down to 125th Street down in Harlem, talked to a few guys with the dark suits and the ties, the bow ties on, told them my dilemma. They said, look, don't worry about it, Hammer, we'll take care of it. Tell me where you are, go back to your room. We'll be there around midnight. It was about 10 o'clock then. So I went back to my room. About 12:30, there was a knock on the door. I went to the door, guy in a suit, bow tie, says, turn around, put your hand behind you. Don't say nothing. I'm going to put this in your hand and don't ask any questions. So I turned around, put my hand out, put my ring, my watch, and he took off.
Wow.
So don't ask. So it's fine, man. Thank you, bro.
I tell everybody all the time that I've seen two miracles in my life. Man landing on the moon and Fred Williamson going to Harlem getting his ring back from Super Bowl I, Super Bowl ring, going back and getting it. I was telling everybody, I can't believe he's even going up there. Is he crazy? Fred, a miracle.
No, it's respect. It's called
Wow.
respect. It's called neighborhood respect, man. That's what it's called.
I love the sound effect coming up when you kick this guy in the gut. Yeah. Oh! That hurts.
God, I wouldn't put any down.
Hey. Little guys. The next time you gotta get big guys when you fight. Little guys.
Fred, are there any people who are bigger than you?
That's big ass. These are little guys I'm fighting, you know? My fans say, why is Fred picking on these little guys, man? Give me some bigger guys to fight.
And here is the introduction of Mr. Foster, and one of the most gorgeous shots. I mean, it almost looks like a studio backdrop or something. It looks totally unreal.
Yeah, no, you shot in some real nice spots. I mean, you got all the best looking spots in New York.
But look at that. It looks like models behind you. It doesn't look at all real. I remember it was kind of windy.
Bill, what were you modeling this picture after? What was in your mind? Death Wish or what? Something else? Or you always have something in mind
Well,
when you're doing this picture?
One of the things I kept thinking about, one of the things that I loved was years ago, there was the golden age of Italian cinema in the 70s, where guys like Umberto Lenzi and Enzo Castellari, and oh god, there was another guy, Sergio Solima. They did all these Italian action films, all these Italian action revenge films, and I always loved watching those. And also, I enjoyed the spaghetti
Westerns? Were they
westerns.
westerns?
No, they were gangster films, crime thrillers. It also the spaghetti westerns I loved. So this film was kind of I couldn't go out and shoot a western in New York, but I sort of took the essence of those films and tried to put it in here, which was kind of they were kind of operatic in a way. And,
Yeah, they were good. I did about 10 pictures for Castellari.
oh, he's great.
Yeah, he was good.
And I always enjoyed that film. And what was interesting is kind of coming full circle is this film, one of the most popular territories for this film was Italy. This film, when it was released, was like number 3 at the box office in Italy. And it was it was one of the territories that it was a breakout hit. In fact, they made a sequel to Vigilante, and they called it Vigilante 2, starring your neighbor, Franco Nero.
Franco Nero, yes.
This again, when we chose locations for this picture, we deliberately stayed out of the locations that you normally see in New York films, Times Square, Midtown Manhattan, those areas.
Okay, wait a minute. There was something I wanted to do, and I think I did it in this shot. I think I tossed something up and catch it behind my back. I kept thinking, now, if I can get away with this and Bill doesn't get mad, what? Yes?
Uh-oh, another miracle. How'd you do that in one take, Bob?
I took a
Christ.
shot. I took a shot. I figured if I got away with it, Bill would be happy, and if I didn't,
gonna
he'd
stop and
say,
pick it up?
Why? We have to shoot another shot. What's the matter with you?
A simple transition.
Yeah.
Bob, just get out of the car. Don't throw the keys in the air. We gotta shoot it again because you get to leave them on the floor. We pick them up.
It's me with
Oh, look at that bad Fred.
Me
Ooh.
and my beard. You rarely
Yes.
see me in a beard, but I figure in this picture I would be more tough and more realistic if I grew a beard and not just use my pretty face.
There's an actor, Joe Carberry.
Joe
I saw him in the
Carberry.
movie Short Eyes, where he played a psycho.
Yeah.
He was absolutely frightening in that movie, and he wasn't any less frightening when I met him and worked with him. He was intense.
Is that where you saw him first in Short Eye?
Yes, in the movie Short Eyes. And this is Richie Bright, who was in
works a lot.
Godfather.
I see him a lot. He works a lot.
And his wife was my...
Yeah, played your
Played
wife,
my wife.
Tanya Alda. But Richie was in all the Sam Peckinpah films.
Yeah.
Here we go with another one of our... This was a cheap crane that I got. So if it shakes a little bit, that's the reason behind it. I think Jimmy Lemo did a very nice job shooting this picture. It had a very nice look to it.
Yeah, look real. How old were you when you directed this?
This was in 81 or 82 when we shot it. It was 82.
Well, I don't know, but you were a young guy.
So you didn't ask.
So I was like 26, 27.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that a guy...
Bill,
See,
Maniac
I'd only
was-
worked with guys who were old. When I came in, they were all older. But during some period, everybody started getting younger, and
What's this musician's name?
Oh, this is Willie Colon.
Cologne, yeah. I got him. He was in one of my movies right after this, I think.
That's right. The Last Fight.
Yeah, the last one. Him and Ruben Blades and Willie Cologne. He was good in this picture.
Yeah.
Willie Cologne was good.
Yeah, he never acted before. He was.
He was good.
Stop him.
It was funny because I'm not that familiar with salsa music, but in some of the neighborhoods that we shot in,
Oh, he was big.
yeah, I mean, God, the people just went nuts when they heard Willie Colon was in the movie. Actually, we one of the deals to finance the film came from South America, where they bought the film before it was shot because of Willie Colon being in it. Of course, she has to do something stupid like
slap him. Oh, and she slapped him, too. I was proud of her.
not a smart thing to do.
Cool, this guy. Oh, our friend Don.
Don Blakely, who was in 29th Street.
Right. Bill, was the Warriors around at this time, or you came already?
Warriors had come. It was a big hit, and that's why the gang element was used for the advertising campaign, which I never really liked.
Oh, here comes a scene with a friend of all of ours who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Is he in here?
Steve James.
Oh,
Oh,
Doesn't
Steve
he?
James. I thought you meant Spinell.
No,
Steve
Steve James.
Here was where I learned about product placement from Fred. Over here, Fred changed the dialogue and asked for, I think it was Miller Lite beers.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, about a week later, there's 80 cases of Miller Lite in my mother's garage because of Fred asking for Miller Lite beers. Here was my mentor in the business. This is Peter Savage, who is no longer with us. The film is dedicated to him. He started me in the business, and I owe great gratitude to him. He was the producer or co-producer of Raging Bull, and he was also in Taxi Driver. My uncle Jake, who was the subject of Raging Bull, was actually supposed to play the bartender in the scene. And about a day or two before shooting, he calls me up and he says, "Well, I've just read the script, and it's not a big enough part." I said, "But Uncle, you told me you would do it." He said, "But it's not really a big enough part, you know." I go, "Uncle, you mean to tell me you're turning me down to be in my movie?" Well, that just goes to show you. My uncle turned me down.
I guess you and him weren't very close, Bill.
I think he did it so he can, every family gathering, he says, "How come Bill doesn't put me in the movies?"
Yeah. You got a scene coming up here, an action scene. Did you have problems with the censors when they went upstairs and the guy shot the kid through the bathroom? Do you have any problems with that in censorship?
Actually, it's kind of funny, but we shot two versions of it.
Yeah.
With the anticipation that we would have a problem with the MPAA. And funny enough, when it came time for the MPAA to rate the film, that's the one scene they didn't touch.
Is that right?
I was in shock.
Yeah, I guess.
And they made me cut some shots later on in the film, which are now intact on the Laserdisc, of one of the bad guys getting shot by Fred with a shotgun, and some of the machine gunning of the cops later on in the film. But all of that has been restored in this version. This kind of milks the suspense a little bit. We all know what's coming when she slapped him.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of milking it a little bit. Maybe we milked it a little too much, but that was the intent over here.
I'll never forget, I was home watching Entertainment Tonight, and the picture opened up. I'm sitting there, and the guy comes on, and he says, "And this week, the top 5 pictures," and the Star Wars sequel, what was it? Was number one?
Empire of the Sun.
He gives the 4 of them. I'm sitting there, and he says, "And the 5th one, the newcomer, Independence, Vigilante." The weekend this opened up with Star Wars sequel.
Excuse me, Frank. There's Steve James.
Yeah, Steve James.
Oh, it's so sad. I mean, here's a guy.
They don't come any nicer than Steve James.
No, this is a very good guy. I worked with him in also Delta Force.
Yeah.
We spent 3 months in Israel.
Just goes to show you, this guy was in perfect health, and
Yeah,
then
he worked out all the time.
Oh, what a tough guy, and what a
Worked out
very
all the time.
generous-
Karate, black belt, and all that stuff. And
he did a lot of stuff.
he had just gotten married. He was really having a nice life, and
It goes to show you only got so many seasons. Make the very best you can.
that's it. He really it was unbelievable. I never believed I'd be at his funeral. Just shocking.
And sometimes it don't quit on its own.
So, but I know Steve. He was a fan of
he got
action
some. He
films.
got some leads in movies. Did he at one time?
Yeah, he was playing. He was playing.
Michael Dudikoff.
Yeah, he was with Michael.
But I saw him a couple of them by himself.
Yes, he starred in a bunch of pictures, or several anyway.
Yeah.
And he also got in with some important directors.
Oh, he did that To Live and Die in L.A.
To Live and Die in L.A.
Right.
And another one.
Cat Squad, you were freaking.
Yeah. Billy freaking liked him. Again, we're trying to milk this over here. I mean, the audience knows what's coming, so we deliberately played just background sounds, no music, using the silence of the scene to keep the suspense going.
At 8772 112th Street. I just had an incident with a man at a
Who's
gas
she trying to
station
call?
and he threatened me.
She
Now,
was
I've
trying to.
just
I
seen
think
him
she's trying to
come
call
my
you,
house.
but you had already
Please
left
send
or
a patrol
something.
car right away.
Oh no, she's trying to call the police.
I am
That's it. She's
alone
trying to
here
call the
with
police
my
here.
baby. Please.
Calm down, lady. Calm down. Relax. We'll send over the next.
One of the problems I found in shooting in CinemaScope was some of these tight locations were difficult to fill the screen, and that's one of the drawbacks of scope. But in a shot like the one over here, it's kind of nice. You know, you can't really do that with a 1.85 film.
Sometimes in CinemaScope you see too much too, though.
Yeah.
Too much.
Oh, I love this over here. I love making audiences jump.
Oh, this is a shocking.
Ah, this is
That
great.
was a shocking cut.
Too smart.
Nobody knows what a thrill it is as a filmmaker when you go into a crowded theater and you know that you're going to manipulate that audience to jump or scream or stomp on the floor for revenge. It's a great feeling, isn't that, Fred? When you make these films and you can do that.
I remember all my films, watching the Black Audience, watch characters was really exciting. In the 70s, because they talked to the screen.
Yeah.
They don't do it anymore, but in the 70s, you know, all the Black Audience used to go to theaters, man. They would talk to you. They'd say, "Look out, him! Watch out! Look out!" They don't do it anymore. But that used to be part of the excitement of going to the theater.
This is interesting. I've always had a thing about television sets. You know, you're always so careful around them not to rub up against them. You always think that tube is going to explode. Well, here I had expected when we shot that insert shot of the guy banging the television, that on the first whack with that metal pipe, that the television was going to explode. I was all set. I had goggles. I had the whole crew protected. It took this guy like 17 whacks just to even dent it.
Yeah.
Now here we go. That poor little kid.
Oh, hi,
This is
kid.
the scene I
Hi.
thought that you'd have some trouble with.
I know.
I couldn't believe he did this, and it was like.
Do you realize that kid is probably like 20 years old now? Wait.
This was equal to the Maniac poster when they were going nuts over the poster Maniac. This was the next thing. He killed a kid in the movie.
Yeah, she gets it. She gets back there. Again, I love this because the audience never would expect what we're going to do.
No.
Never. And probably we shouldn't have done it, but I think bad taste is fun. Here we go. Look at this little kid silhouetted behind that shower. Oh, God. Oh, my sheets.
The
Look
sheets.
at
I
this.
know you stole this from something. Oh, was it Halloween?
Oh, God.
Was it Halloween with the sheets or something?
I don't know where I got it from, but I know I probably did get it from someplace. I just thought those sheets, I had them hang up a whole bunch of sheets in the backyard just so we can create some tension by the sheets. Now, here we go. Here's the scene I thought. No one ever expected us to do this. See that? Now, that shot had the blood. We shot an alternative one that had just the window explode. Now, here, the audience jumps again. I love it. Double whammy. Yeah, those sheets are a great device to create suspense and tension. It costs you nothing, and it's yeah, broken family. This shot, as well as a lot of other scenes in the film, were shot in this converted pier on the Hudson River that we rented for very cheap. And well, originally we thought it was going to be cheap, until we learned about what it cost to heat a place. And that one, we could have gone to probably Universal and shot this movie for what it cost to heat the place.
Oh, that was cold.
Oh,
I remember being there, and we had 55-gallon drums with fire in them. Remember those? Burning, wood and breaking up stuff and keeping warm. And as we were keeping warm one day, I looked over, and there's Fred with his back to the can, and he's working on a crate of some kind. He's got a spiral pad or something, and I asked him what he was doing. He said he was writing his next picture. I couldn't believe him. I thought he was lying. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He said he's writing his next movie, which he did. He went out and shot immediately after we finished. He went out and shot The Last Fight. Anyway, well, I don't know. That played on me for such a long time that when I went with you to Cannes, I said to myself, well, hey, listen, if Fred can do it, and what the heck, I'm here now, I ought to be able to do one too. So I got the bright idea I was going to try to make a picture after you and Fred made it seem like a cinch. I won't try that again.
Hollywood Harry.
Hollywood Harry. We
Hollywood
all
Harry.
saw it.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Now here we know what Bob is in for. This is the, kind of like the calm before the storm. We all know what he's in for. Build it. A little suspense here. I kind of like this over here. It's kind of a nice shot.
Are we passing a
That was
ambulance that's taking away a body, I wonder?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't know. He thinks,
Where?
wow,
I
maybe
mean,
something happened
where?
to one of the neighbors.
Yeah, what happened? Oh, it's near my house. Wait a minute.
It's a long drive.
Closest to my house. In fact, it's...
Called milking it.
It's a long drive.
Oh, it's my house. It's my house.
And look at that. As soon as the car pulls up, the body bag comes out the door. Boy, did we hit him over the head with this.
Mr. Marino, listen to me, Mr. Marino.
There's Randy Jurgensen, who we mentioned earlier. Now, I remember this night for one reason, and that was I remember getting so tired that I was sitting in a chair in that living room, and I fell asleep, totally asleep, snoring, while the crew was all around me. I was
Setting
so
up
exhausted.
a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, we worked almost all night, didn't we?
Oh,
We worked till
God,
dawn, maybe.
the hours I put in on this film, I mean, it was just unbelievable.
This guy looks like Mike Douglas.
Punctured,
Yeah.
neck and
The bad
spinal
news.
cord were badly
It
damaged.
always has to be a bad news scene. In Death Wish, there was the bad news scene.
I want to see her.
Bill, this picture has a different look than you had in Maniac. You have the grainy looking Maniac. It's a different type of
Well,
film
why
and
don't
all
you
that.
go home for a
Or
while?
what is it not?
Well, this was shot
the same.
35 millimeter scope, whereas Maniac was shot 16 millimeter and blown up.
I didn't tell her.
So it's going to have a different look. I mean,
But
Maniac.
this is the look you wanted. You didn't want
Try to keep
that
it
other look, or you didn't want
Well, this had a gritty look to it. It didn't have a glamorous Hollywood look. It had a contrasty look. It was kind of shadowy, film noirish in spots. But it had a slicker feel and look. I think one of my reasons behind that was, I guess, in some ways, I was trying to show people that I can make a slicker looking film.
Well, yeah, you got to compete. Sooner or later, you got to compete with the market. You got to make something that's competing with the films that are playing at the same time.
Yeah. But one of the things I learned on this film was that I was kind of trying to get perfect shots at times. I was pushing to get scenes and shots, and I was over-covering myself, over-protecting myself on this picture. And I learned that I could have probably used that time more wisely to get more coverage than going after perfection of shot. That I could have created more energy by getting more coverage in this. And
You still shot it pretty fast.
yeah, but I think I could have gotten more within the time that I shot it. And so when I went to do the Maniac Cop series, I would not go after a lot of protection for shots. I would kind of try to move as quickly as I can. Now, this was the first shot of the film when we started principal photography. This was day one of principal photography. We had already shot that opening a month before, and now this was day one.
Funerals.
Yeah, this is on 13th Street and 2nd Avenue, somewhere in the
Yeah,
Apollo.
yeah.
I came down here.
I remember I didn't want to let those flowers, we paid for those flowers, I didn't want them to go to waste. So I had one of the production assistants gather up the flowers and bring them to the office. I said to my partner, Andrew Garoni, I said, Andy, what we could do is we can give these flowers to our girlfriends and we'll look like big shots, right? And when the flowers arrived in the office and it had rest in peace on them and everything else, Andy went absolutely berserk. He jumped off his desk and said, get these funeral flowers out of the office. He would not allow funeral flowers to be in the office. He was totally convinced that it would create a problem for him. And I thought flowers are flowers. Here's Carol Lindley. Carol Lindley worked on the film for about a week. She was somebody who...
She is the Marsha Clark of Vigilante.
That's a good one.
She's been around. She was around a long time, man. She did a lot of work. Carol worked a lot.
She was the one in the Poseidon Adventure singing "This is the morning after," or it's supposed to be the morning after, whatever.
She was in a movie, Bill, that you weren't even around in, called Blue Denim. I don't know if you were born then, which was Catholic church. When I was a Catholic in grammar school, banned the movie X. Don't you dare see this movie or you're not a Catholic no more.
Well, wasn't she also Baby Doll?
Yeah.
That was also one of
Is
those.
that her?
concerts? Yeah, she was like the.
Baby doll? Or, wait a minute. Was that Carol Baker?
Of the $500,000.
I think it was Carol Lindley.
No, I think it was Carol Baker.
Oh, okay, I may be wrong.
No,
I know
question
that.
Frank. Frank is an expert.
It was Carol Baker in Baby Doll.
85% of all
Yeah.
serious
think so.
Anyway, she was kind of the controversial. She was like the Sharon Stone
Yeah.
of her time.
Yeah.
Controversial, doing being provocative.
Back out on the street.
Um,
The victim gets out of the hospital.
You came close to using someone else for this part.
I want this guy to.
I remember.
I can't even remember.
I forget who it was. I forget.
You signed that.
Like a Playmate of the Year or something like that. I'm not sure.
Well,
It was somebody really glamorous. You were looking to get a.
I love this location. We have the city. Always tried to keep the city in the background. This is also. I like this scene a lot. This is actually my favorite scene. My favorite dramatic scene in the picture. I think Bob and Fred were wonderful in this scene.
Yeah, we rehearsed it a
Is
lot.
that on
We were
the
ready
edge
for
of
it.
the roof? Yeah.
Yeah, we rehearsed it a lot. We were ready for it.
Yeah, this was good. It had a nice. It had everything worked over here. I think it just had a nice feel.
I had to sit down so I wouldn't be over taller than he was. So he made me sit down.
It's all right, Fred.
It's a nice
I don't think of anybody as very big, I must tell you.
He made me sit down so I wouldn't look like a giant next to him.
Well, look at the collapsed pier in the background.
Yeah,
It really has a
Oh,
nice
this was
background.
cold. This was that cold
yeah.
location.
My mouth
boy.
was froze, man. I could get the words out.
Bob, this is when you were smoking 3 packs a day?
Yes, Frank, and I
This is
quit.
before you cured yourself?
Yes, it was. It was before I finally got smart.
And you had to do one of the scene? Was this.
Let it out.
You wanted to
Take care of
smoke?
the
Or
situation by yourself.
I don't know, Frank. It was one of those, when
We got a system of laws.
they're always good to
Courts.
work with.
Beard
and mustache designs. I couldn't decide which way to go with it.
Let's see that again. Yes. Ooh. Very bad.
One day, some juveniles come to my old man's house. They beat him
Look at
till
the
he couldn't
wind.
hardly
Oh,
take a
this
walk
was a
or
nice
piss
scene.
by himself anymore. You know where those punks
The other
are
thing
now?
nice about this is, it's a funny thing. I hardly ADR'd this picture.
So I asked
All of
myself,
this was all the sound that
one day,
all the
punks
location
come to
sound,
my house.
and it worked
What's my
nicely.
life worth?
In fact, towards the end of the scene, we had a helicopter that flew overhead when we were shooting the scene, and I incorporated it as a transition with the following scene. And I got that idea from the movie All the President's Men, when Dustin Hoffman is interviewing that woman on the patio, and a plane flies overhead, and they kept the sound of the plane. It was obvious, obvious it was part of the take.
Sure.
So I really like that. A lot of times the soundmen make you cut when those things happen, and I think it's nice to leave them in.
Real sound is so much easier on the
Oh, they
audience.
cut it all the time. Hold it,
Believable.
Yeah, there's a plane coming over. This was nice, but we didn't do it.
That's something you gotta figure out all by
I
yourself.
make my speeches before movies. Nobody cuts but me. If you make a mistake, you keep going. Nobody cuts.
Well, I think a lot of times the actors get thrown off by it, because they're expecting a cut to happen, because they're so used to everybody cutting with those things. So here was the helicopter overhead that we used, and we blended it with this bus over here. This was one of these shots we went out and stole. We didn't have permits a lot of times because it just was
Permits?
too.
There are such things?
Yeah.
You can't
Here it is. The screen lights up.
And walks the director.
There it is, my cameo. Now here was an extra that was a little indulgent on my part, but she was
wonderful.
She was just so wonderful to look at. That
Yes.
fountain bent over like that, and God.
She stayed there a long time too.
Yes. I just could keep sipping at the water.
Sipping, dear.
Keep bending over at the water fountain. Look at that striped dress. Bob thought I was looking at him, but I was looking at her, making sure that she was okay. Now here's our dear friend Joe Spinell.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh, boy.
The man.
Oh, boy. Joe Spinell.
Oh, God. How sad he's no longer with us.
He could do a lot with a small scene, man. This guy could take a scene and work it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there was Joe's mother in the background. For those of you watching the Disney,
Really?
want to back up. She was on the.
Sitting on the bench.
She's sitting on the bench. Yeah.
She's always in the movies.
Oh yeah, she was an extra throughout this courtroom scenes over here. And here is this. This is a kind of a nice. It's kind of French Connection-y. Bathrooms are always nice for these clandestine things. There's Joe. He's great.
Yeah.
His little gestures, wiping his mustache. I think a lot of this dialogue.
Not enough money. Joe doesn't even want to take it. Not enough.
Yeah.
I must have cast 4 or 5 people out of this movie for the last fight,
Yes.
including your camera crew. I took your camera crew from this film.
Yeah. Hey, used Joe many times.
Yeah,
And Frank.
exactly.
And Fred's been the greatest. The last fight, I think you used my friend Sirico.
Yeah, when Junior's.
Junior. And the fighter. Wasn't there a famous fighter in that movie?
Yeah, the Mexican kid that got killed in a car accident.
Right.
Seeing court arms.
Joe, he just has such a presence.
I hope you have a strong
But
constitution.
he is what he is.
Yeah.
You know, you cast him right, it's
Judge
perfect, man.
Sinclair.
He is what he is.
All rise.
The man
Sleazy.
is irresponsible.
Find seats, please. Put away those newspapers. There'll be no
While we were
smoking in
at this
courtroom.
location
Be seated.
and sitting around waiting in one of those rooms that was almost empty, here's a
The
stack
state
of
New York and Edward Marino
reports of the
versus
Appalachian
Federico Melendez.
mob event.
Huh.
I mean, there were piles of things there. This was a federal building of some kind, right?
But
Representing
the court,
Melendez.
the bailiff over there is a guy
Ray
who's
Serra.
Ray Serra,
Anybody here
who's
for
the
Melendez?
Edward G. Robinson lookalike.
Who was the
Yeah.
judge, Bill?
Oh God.
He
Oh.
was a Screen Actors Guild representative.
Yes. Oh, he was a guy who made my life miserable.
What was his name? Do you remember?
Oh God, I can't remember his name now.
It's all right.
Oh, and I
It's
used
a-
to curse his name every day.
There's Ray right there.
There's Ray
He was a
Serra.
Screen Actors representative. Whoa.
Oh, I couldn't believe Lou DiGiamo cast him in that part.
Yeah, they come out to check you out, Frank. Make sure.
Oh, so that's the old deal.
Oh, and it was like inviting him right to the right to the party, you know.
Oh, my God. So you had to give him a part to.
No, it was like I gave him this part, but it wound up being oh God, rules and regulations. Did I learn about them?
Signed affidavit.
He wasn't grateful for the party.
Oh God, it was torture.
Yeah.
Torture what this guy put me through. One of the things that happened when we were shooting this scene over here is Joe went MIA. It took us 2 days to shoot this scene, and Joe was missing in action the following morning. So all the shots that you see where Joe is not in the shots, and you only see maybe perhaps a piece of him, his shoulder, that's a stand-in for him. It kind of, especially at this scene over here around the at this conference around the judge's bench.
Well, how'd you get them to match? It looks pretty good.
Well, you see, that shot was shot with Joe, but then
Right,
over
but,
here, Carol Lindley is looking at a stand-in, and so is the judge. And we would shoot Joe separately when we finally found him, which actually it was thanks to you, Frank,
Was
and your memory for phone numbers.
Yeah.
How did that work?
Well, he was with some crazy girl, and I told Bill, and he's got the number. I had the number. I said, call up. That's where he is, and they found him right away. You know, they were looking from all over. They called me and they said, oh, you know where he is? He's over here at Mary's house. Mary, who? What's her number? I said, 898-37. They called up and they got him, and I was like, how come?
What was his reason? He just forgot or something? He just
No,
happened to-
he was
He was
just
celebrating something. I forget what he was celebrating.
First day of work.
No, I was celebrating something ridiculous.
Poor Andy had to go up there, and Joe was upset that he disappointed us. So Andy had to he wanted to kill him, but at the same time was saying, Joe, don't worry, nobody's mad at you. So when he finally arrived, his mother, in front of all the extras, in front of all the crew, started to hit him. There was this little elderly woman hitting her son, saying, "You should have never done this. You kept everybody waiting."
Bill, was this fairly easy, or was this a nightmare about these reaction shots where I need a shot of you looking over here, imagine Joe is there, and imagining that, do I got them all, or
Well,
was it pretty easy?
it was pretty easy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Well, these were all professional actors. I mean,
Yeah, but
Carol Lindley.
you tell me that they're looking at scenes, you don't see him, these things match pretty well. It's like,
well,
it looks like,
I mean, it's not like these people are,
yeah, but I got another shot of you making a face now, Spinella said there's that, these are hard nuances to remember.
I'll tell you one thing. Joe was funny. He came to me and he was dead serious. He wanted to add a backstory with him and Carol Lindley. He said, Bill, what if Carol Lindley and I were former lovers? And now we're at the opposite ends. I'm a defense attorney. She's a DA. He goes, and what if we dissolve and we have a flashback of us making love on this beach? And he was like, he wanted me to go and shoot this. So we dissolved out of the courtroom.
Think he had ulterior motives and the plot of Vigilante.
Let's go
Plot of
build, let's go
Vigilante.
build this backstory. Well, you know, the actor always thinks the story's about his part.
And Billy actually thought you'd fall for it?
No, but he was making a shot.
I could
Taking
fit
a
that
shot
in
at her.
Vigilante, a little love story.
He was going to give it a shot.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This was kind of fun with Bob exploding over here.
What? They let these guys off? What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
This judge was...
I've been there, man. Just letting people off, and you got them dead to rights.
Oh, this is what everybody would love to do. Actually, there was a situation where a father shot the rapist in the courtroom, and this was the idea for this scene. Look at Randy jumping over the table. This is great. Bob explodes. And now we're going to really, now we start the process. This next shot starts the process of aggravating the audience. This is what I call just trying to add wood to the fire. The audience now is wondering what has happened, and we see Bob is being thrown into jail instead of the criminal. And so now we're stirring the sauce.
Yeah.
This was
I love
a
the
shot
music
that we...
is where you have that spaghetti western music.
Yeah?
I love the music in this.
Yeah, this is actually Rikers Island. We went out there. This was a second unit shot by Jimmy Leno, where went out there to Rikers. This is the actual interior of Rikers Island. I think at the time that we
where
shot
were the
there-
real prisoners?
Well, what happened was they cleared out this one tier for us, and we had it for about 4 hours to shoot these shots over here. And I asked them while we were shooting, where were the prisoners going? And they said that we're showing them a movie. And I said, well, out of curiosity, what movie are you showing them? And they said 10, the movie 10 with Bo Derek. I couldn't believe it. I'm wondering what's going to go on in this tier that night from all these guys watching Bo Derek. These are all extras. I think we only were able to afford like 10 extras, so to make sure we see them, I had them all put their arms out, and I used a lot of sound effects. Some of the background sounds here are the actual prisoners from the tier that's on the other side of this one. Our camera crew was being whistled at, and it was funny. I went into some of these cells because these cells had just been occupied, and I'd go in there and it'd be like these jars of Vaseline that were like, like industrial strength jars. I mean, they were like, the kind you would, Smart and Final, a gallon jar of Vaseline.
Woody Strode.
Oh, Woody Strode just passed away.
Who's a prison guard, Bill? I know this guy.
Oh, that's Nick Barbero.
I knew him. The guy at the buses?
Yeah.
I knew him.
Nick was the guy who he was part owner of the company that supplied the picture cars. Yeah. And we started to run up quite a bill with the picture car company. So Nick shaved some of our bill if we would put him in the movie.
Oh, guy gets a part.
Yes. It works every time. So that's how he got.
This Frank's big
Here I
scene.
am selling drugs to these kids.
This Frank's big scene with
Yes,
me.
it is. With me and Fred.
There he is.
Frank.
Oh.
Notice I'm not twisting these kids' arms. These kids,
but
if they didn't get it from me, they would have got it from somebody else.
Yeah, but you're gonna find out that crime don't pay, Frank, in about 5 seconds.
If they didn't get it from me, they get it from somebody else.
You gotta
Take a
find
look
out.
at Frank closely. That was his headshot for about 15 years, Frank.
Yes.
From that was his
Yeah.
headshot from this picture.
These shots right here, I actually based them the morning that I shot this.
Watch
I watched Halloween while I was getting dressed to come to the set, and those dolly shots with the POVs and the bumping into Fred came from Halloween when the girl bumps into the cop as she's walking down the street.
This is when I run away from Fred,
Crime doesn't pay.
and I knock over a guy in a wheelchair. He's a real cripple. I find out later on, Bill tells me this guy's really crippled, Frank. You gotta be careful. Alex Stevens' son. Oh, God.
And watch what happens.
He bangs his head on the concrete. Oh, I thought he was
loud,
dead.
big loud clunk.
Oh.
Like a coconut hitting the ground.
The worst part is I think we had to do like 2 takes of it.
Oh, hollow sound, Frank.
Oh.
We got a shot that comes up that pissed me off. This is one shot I watched this movie.
Oh, Frank.
Oh, it's horrible.
And I
Now, what
jumped.
did you like, Fred?
Bill Lustig, the way he shot it, ticked me off. I jump off of this wall. It's 10 foot high, and I did it.
Oh, I remember you jumped straight up.
I did it 3 times. No, I jumped off this wall. It's 10 feet. I did it.
Oh, I
3
know.
times,
Yeah. I didn't show the whole height.
And he did it in a cut. Now, what's the point of me doing this
Bill.
jump? What's the point of me making this leap? And
Look
he does
at-
it in a cut.
That's right. Now he's climbed over the fence.
And now watch
but
me make this jump.
I know. Oh yeah.
And I mean,
Watch
it's a
out.
big, tall
All
jump,
for
man.
nothing.
But this was,
When I jump on the other side,
yeah, the other side.
I jumped 3 times.
3 times. I remember this.
3
yeah.
times for him I jumped.
Right.
And he did it in a cut.
No,
Man.
I didn't do that. Yee.
Look,
Yeah,
I mean, I
he-
could have jumped.
Oh,
I could have jumped off an apple box.
I know.
Yes.
I didn't have to jump off
He
of that
jumped
wall.
from the top. That's right. You did do that.
I learned. Sorry, Fred. This scene over here was shot in this great location. It was a public pool in Brooklyn. Look at all that graffiti. We
I
didn't
would
put
have had
any
a
of
head
it.
start like this. You would have never caught me, Fred. This is only in the movies. With a lead like this,
I would've
I'm
eventually-
gone.
I would have eventually.
I would
went
have
down,
been in
Frank.
New Jersey by
I'd
now.
have still been on your cheek.
Only in the movies would
I
you
would have
catch
still
me.
been on your cheek.
Fred, with a lead like this,
I
no
would've-
one's catching me.
You would have gave up, Frank.
I think we did this day like something like 40 setups to get this scene going. We were running around like crazy trying to get all these shots.
Uh-oh. Guess what? Frank gets away. You don't catch me. That's right.
Who didn't catch you?
You don't catch
Had
me.
you hanging by
Those
the seat of
guys.
your pants.
But those guys helped you. I get away,
In the
Jack.
background there is the World Trade Center. This was shot in Brooklyn. Across from there, there's one of those Russian
Nah,
churches.
Frank,
See those
taunting.
smooth moves, Frank?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Listen, man. I didn't.
Oh, boy.
This wasn't planned. I didn't know what you were gonna do. You know.
Oh, I wanted to do everything, and I wanted to ask Bill the director.
This
Bill,
wasn't in
can
the
I do
script.
this? Can I do
This
that?
wasn't in the script.
I know it wasn't in the script. Fred, don't make me even say it. I said to Bill, what about if I say the N-word? He says, Frank, you better not.
No, you'd have been still swinging. From
I know. I
still swinging from that
said-
window that I had.
I said, Bill said, Frank, you know I'm better than I do if I was you. I mean, you better. I said, well, Bill, you're the director. I wanted Bill to give me an, you know, and he said, oh, no.
So you spat on them and said instead.
Oh, no, Fred told me don't spit. This is a great jump, Bill. I get screwed too in this jump.
You didn't jump it, Frank. This was a
I
stunt guy.
jumped this, Bill.
Frank,
Yeah,
stunt guy.
Takes the stunt
Oh,
guy.
who's this?
Yeah, well, see, I could have made that jump off an apple.
They had me up.
Man, I could have done that.
I was no apple box. I was on the top floor of a ladder. Oh, now this idiot, Richie Bright from the actor studio, I hear him talking to Bill about,
This with the baseball bat?
yes, he wants to use a real baseball bat.
Fred, didn't you get hurt here?
Yeah, hurt my knee.
Yeah,
I
hurt
made
your
the
knee.
jump.
Yeah.
And he didn't carry me all the way down.
Oh, Fred, you jumped off the ladder.
Look at that, carry me all the way down. I mean, I'd have jumped it.
That's this idiot with this, even with the plastic bat. Watch him hit me in the face, and I grab my ear. All right? He's swinging like an idiot here. And that fucking stung. Oh, and pardon my French, it stung. Bob, get a loose pin. I'm whacking. He hit me, and you know, he wanted to use a real baseball bat. He wanted to put this Lee Strasberg stuff on Bill. I hear him talking like, well, you know, suppose they use a real bat in my camera. Like, I said, Bill, what is this guy nuts? And I walked down the stairs and make believe I wasn't gonna get hit every time.
Here we go. There's Rikers Island. And here we are with another scene over here. There's Nick Barbaro, who was our picture car guy.
What's
Now,
this guy's
this
name?
guy with the beard, his name is Sandy Alexander. He came to the set.
Head
he-
of Hell's Angels, isn't he?
well, I didn't know that.
He's the real thing.
He's the real item. And what happened was he comes to the set and he's like one of these, yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
very
Yes,
polite
very
guy.
polite, very nice. And somebody comes over to me, you know, he's the head of the New York Hells Angels. Sure enough, 6 months later, he's being arrested for murder.
That's why you gotta stay on your toes, Bill. These guys
I
run
like,
right
I
through
like
you.
what you did with Woody in this movie. You made him real strong. I like. I
Oh,
like what
Woody,
you did with him.
man. Oh, he's such a great presence.
He was-
Great actor.
He was strong in this movie.
What a wonderful human being. I remember the thrill of going to the airport to meet Woody Strode
This guy's, you know.
in the script, actually, we wrote next to the part that it was Woody Strode. I was so determined that I was going to get Woody Strode. I was such a fan of his movies, especially films like Spartacus. And,
Yeah, he was right for the part.
oh, he's so wonderful.
Professionals.
Comes in
Oh.
like John Wayne punches when he came into the fight. He pulled punches just like John Wayne. When he rescues you,
Yeah.
come in with a John Wayne punch.
Yeah. I remember when we get to that scene later, I remember the audience going absolutely
Yeah,
berserk
exactly.
because he's a guy. So the moment he comes on the screen, the audience loves him. He's just one of these guys. Just love him.
And it was a great trick when he went into the cell.
Well, we were
First,
shooting
I
the
went to
scene, by the
cell,
way.
You think he's a bad guy?
When we were shooting the scene over here in the lunchroom,
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
we were running overtime, and the crew, they had let the prisoners back in that tier, and while we were shooting in there, they started pounding on the floor, and I said, okay, we got enough. Let's cut and get out of here.
It's Fred beating the daylights out of me. And I get hung outside the window there, and my safety net is Fred holding onto my pants.
You were a very nice
Belt.
guy that day. But
Yes.
You didn't say nothing mean.
And this is and Randy's out of the shot holding my ankle so I don't fall out the window. No double, no nothing.
Oh, look at this. There's Richie whacking you with that bat. He loved it. These guys are really hitting you. They're really hitting
The
you.
other guy too. These hams from the actor's studio. We didn't know how to fit the fake fight. You don't mind if I really get into it, do you?
Things are getting
And they're
ruined.
throwing, they're punching the daylights. I'm black and blue when this is over. Imbeciles that Bill Lustig had me working with. Look at this. Oh, I told you what's happening, Fred.
You didn't want to go out that window.
Look at this. So, Frank.
Give me a name. A name.
Well,
I want a name.
I remember, no, I told Bill, don't, whatever you do, don't let him kill me. I want to come back for Vigilante 2.
Yeah, well, they made it without us
as
anyway.
the head of the gang.
They made it without us anyway.
Yeah,
Frank.
we both.
They made it without me.
I had it all planned. If I don't get killed up, this is why I come back as the head of the gang. Remember me, the guy that hung out the window? Vigilante 2. So over here, Frank doesn't die. Yeah. Oh. Boom.
You really collapsed.
Milking it, Frank. It's called milking it.
That's acting, Fred. Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
All fags.
Uh,
Tell that to Horace, gal.
this I remember when we were shooting. When we were shooting this scene, it was by the Midtown Tunnel, and
The 31st Street Tunnel?
yeah,
Where's this place?
this is in Queens.
On the other side.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, on the other side. I know where you are. Long Island City.
Yeah, and that bar we used for the exterior for I used it years later for Maniac Cop, the exterior of it.
Who is this guy? What's his name? the actor?
His name is Bo.
I haven't seen him in anything since this.
No, he was a serious actor.
Yeah, he
and
was. He was very intense, man.
Very intense, and he was in the movie Hair. And this is a scene which is which dates the
girl. Who
movie.
is
This
this
is probably the only
girl?
scene in the movie that really dates it.
You mean what he's wearing?
Yeah, this whole idea is kind of
spooky out
dated.
here. Something's
I think he really
wrong.
whacked you here or
He
something.
did. He did.
Bring me some money.
He was intense.
Bring me some money.
Tried to wrestle with me, and I had a chokehold on him for a while there, man. You'll see it. He tried to fight back. I put a hold on him, man, and I had him strangled him for a minute. He's one of these typical New York intense actors.
They know.
Show us when that scene comes up, Fred.
Goddamn
All right.
Here's the.
guys.
I love this music sting that happens over here. This is one of Jay's specialties, is music stings, and
Yeah.
when the lights come on in this car, it's kind of fun.
Uh-oh. Drugs.
Here we go. Here comes the music sting.
Does that bong thing, you know?
Now these this shot over here, this scene where they're trying to they're following him and eventually start ramming his car, was all shot in probably the worst neighborhood I've ever been in my life in Brooklyn. This place was so scary. It was totally
Greenpoint.
Oh, it was totally burned out. No, this wasn't Greenpoint. This was like President Street.
That's near Greenpoint.
Oh, it was terrifying. And we're on a camera truck, and the guy who was driving this camera truck didn't know how to drive a camera truck, and it was absolutely terrifying.
Now, are those headlights or are those lights rigged to look like headlights? Right there?
They're rigged to look like headlights. That's the camera that's on the front of the camera truck with some lights on either side to get that POV
So
shot.
you're on a mount on the front of the truck.
Correct. Yeah, it's a 40
camera's
millimeter, 40 millimeter lens.
And on each side of the camera, you got lights rigged to look like. Okay.
Exactly. To simulate the
This
headlights.
guy is being towed at this point, right?
Yeah, he's being towed right here, and coming up when he starts ramming the car. That flaring is kind of normal, I've learned, with CinemaScope lenses. Try to avoid that, but it kind of works a little bit. At first I found it distracting. Over here, when we were doing these shots, is when the camera truck was a little out of control. And the funny thing is, when I look at it today, this could have been done four-man process. Nobody could have been in danger, because you don't really see the background. You don't really get a
So how
sense
would
of
you
it.
have done it without knowing the
If I had done it today, I would have taken on someplace safer and not gone to this kind of a neighborhood to shoot. It was ridiculous. I mean, there was bumps in the road, all kinds of hazards that we didn't have to.
It was a lot easier.
Oh, today when I've done the Maniac Cop films, I cheat a lot of this stuff. I'll shoot it on a regular city street, and and just
Start and go, and
just very
travel
simple.
around.
Yeah,
And the editing it'll make it look like they're moving all over the place.
yeah.
Hey, watch out. We got the R-rated stuff going on here.
All right, Bob.
I would have never
was
took
courageous.
this part, Phil Lustig.
Yeah, it was, man.
I would never have taken this part.
It's tough.
Bob liked it, but what was kind of interesting is all the extras were making dates with each other. You remember that?
I don't remember that, no, Bill.
Oh, I remember this.
But this guy I remember.
Fred, you don't do nudity on the screen.
Yeah, I do, but I don't do it with other guys.
Fred, in the screenplay it says, taking a shower. I didn't know there'd be other guys around.
Well, it's in a prison.
You didn't read the
But
script,
look,
Bob.
everybody knows this guy but me.
Well, you got soap in your eyes.
Hey, that's right. Hey,
Look at this.
One guy didn't want to leave.
that guy, he didn't know whether to warn me or not.
Oh, God.
That guy, when I
Oh,
saw
it
him,
was this cold. This joint was a cold joint.
this was a swimming pool. We shot this near the swimming pool. They shot Raging Bull down the village because this had a shower big enough for us to shoot in. And this guy over here, this big guy, I forget his name now. Henry Baker, I think his name is.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was the guy in Cruising. Sandy Alexander getting poked in the face. Bob, how would you have felt if you knew that he was a killer and you were going to hit him in the face?
It comes
I
around.
told him I'm going to stab him in the eye.
This is the shot. The audience
Yeah.
went berserk.
Yes,
Any
yes.
place this played in the world, the audience went berserk.
Yeah.
Bob, you got trunks on you or something or
It was
what?
just Sunday punch.
I don't think so. Boom! Give that guy something for me, Woody.
Look at Woody, so
Give him
great.
something else, Woody.
So great. Look at this. Ow.
And what effects, sound effects. Oh, this guy. He's a little hammy, don't you think, Frank?
Who's the guy that went
The
down?
guy going down, yeah.
I think over here, Sandy actually hit his head when he went back against the wall. I remember him being a little dazed. Look at this.
No,
Very
he was
tasteful.
great. No, he was something, man.
This scene over here was
I'll show you the strangle scene coming up in a minute.
He wasn't cooperating?
No, man, he was intense. And I was trying to tell him to relax.
Uh-oh. Oh, Joe Carberry.
Carberry loves to punch people.
And there's Richie with his bat. And Bo looking like he's already been through something, Fred.
What's going on here, man?
And you're going to do worse?
Well, he was something, man. This guy was. He wanted to fight back, you know. I said, no, just pretend to fight back, man.
Yeah.
I love these shots of you here, Fred. I think the lighting is perfect.
Yeah.
You look great. This is such the location, everything just looks so nice here. We even have a still from this that is one of our publicity stills that it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Fred, Lustig did catch you on your good side in these shots here.
Any side you shoot me on, Frank. You gotta win.
Your mama ain't smart enough to deal by herself.
Look at that close-up. That's wonderful. You move into it. Just so nice. See this on a big screen. Looks wonderful.
Won't be able to put you back together.
This was also shot in that pier location down near the Hudson River. This was the area where we parked our cars. I tried to make it, with sound effects, I made it sound like we were under a train.
Boy, I've seen this on television sometimes on Channel 9. They cut the daylights out of this. They can't show a lot of stuff. The dialogue and the baby scene, forget that.
Yeah, I've actually never sat through it on free TV.
Main man. Mr. T.
Yeah, this was a very dramatic scene. It was good.
This was a nice scene. This was a really good scene.
Where was this picture received the best?
Europe.
Please don't make me do this,
Yeah.
man. You got something
Yeah?
suicide,
Yeah,
man.
this film in England, it was on video. It was #1 for like 6 months on video.
Wow.
Scandinavia, it was very popular because it seems like retribution films
Germany.
there. Yeah, Germany. It was called
Big in
Street
Germany.
Fighters.
Yeah, it was big in Germany.
In fact, at the end of this disc, we have the trailers from Italy and France and Germany, as well as the American trailer and the U.S. TV
Oh, one time
spot.
you showed me the tape of the French version, and the guy was doing my part, you know, cursing out in French and all that was great. But there's other versions too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the only place where this film did not do anything was in Japan, which funny enough.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it just the film just did nothing over there, but everywhere else it was very popular. Here's Pete Savage.
There's Pete.
Coming up is the shot that the MPA made me trim.
When I shot him.
Yeah, when we the effect I was going for, the special effect that we were going for was going to be a ratchet, where we were going to double Pete with a stuntman.
Jerk him back.
And use a ratchet to pull him back from the force of the shotgun. And what happened was when we were setting it up and rehearsing, the stuntman accidentally hit the ratchet, causing him to fly backwards
Yeah,
unexpectedly, and he
Yeah, I
hurt
remember
himself. I love all that blood coming up. We had to have a shower standing by, a portable shower, so he can clean himself.
Oh, the filth in that water.
There's Fred popping out of the shadows. That's a cool shot.
Wow.
I like this dolly shot. We walking into it and following with the.
Yeah.
These are the things you get when you have a widescreen film on letterbox that you can't get when it's panned and scanned. This kind of composition.
Yeah, he throws you the case.
Yes.
That ain't gonna do it.
Like
brother.
that's what I wanted.
Yeah, no.
You want to get rid of the Mr. Big.
That was a big sound effect. Yeah.
Look at that. Now that's the shot that the MPA made me cut.
Right.
I don't blame them.
Oh, that's not in the video?
No.
No.
Only on laser? So the video tape doesn't have that, huh? That
No.
big shot.
It's
That
trimmed.
was pretty good.
It's trimmed. I just love those squibs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's Woody. This is great. It's just such a. It works.
He did all his stuff, Woody, in one day?
He worked, I think, 2 or 3 days.
2 days he worked. I remember
Yeah.
he was there. I was talking with him.
Yeah. It was 2 or 3 days we shot all this stuff. Now over here, I deliberately, everybody wondered why I let this shot run so long. And I had in the back of my mind the spaghetti western feel to the film, and I knew that I wanted to put some music on here, you know, and so I left it deliberately long with this music cue in mind. You probably wondered how I would possibly do this, leaving it this long. Did you wonder, Bob, when we were shooting this?
I thought you thought the walk was great, and you wanted to capture every second of it.
What was the music? The music work out?
Oh yeah, the music is cool here. Now it bursts. You know, it's just like spaghetti western, the reprise of the theme, and it's like it's ready to kick ass. Now this guy is pissed.
Oh, I remember this day. This was one of our early days. You
Yeah.
say that, Fred?
Yeah.
You asked me if I knew somebody.
Yeah.
No, I asked you if you knew somebody. I won't say who. And you obviously knew him because you said, "Did you ever see him eat?"
Oh, God.
There's
No.
Fred. He motivates the boom by going up to his glasses. Yeah, I always love this. Fred without a word. This is what I loved in spaghetti westerns, where they would use
where I
the
asked-
music in the eyes. Look at this. Fred looks over, cut to Bob, cut back to Fred. His moving of the head cues off the music. That's cool.
We've done them before, Bob. A lot of those spaghetti westerns, I've done them with Castellari, as I said. It all works.
And I thought putting a spaghetti western theme in an urban setting, I thought would be fun, and it was. It was fun. This was the kind of film that gave it a theme more than just being a retribution film. It gave it kind of a mood and a tone. Over here, Richie Bright came up with this idea. He says, "Bill, I want to be able to play with this orange." And I said, "Well, what is it?" He goes, "It's the symbol of death."
Yeah.
And
I
here he
told
is
you it was
tossing
a
the
ham.
orange.
Oh, yeah?
I told you he was a ham. From the actor's studio.
I mean, I still to this day have never heard of an orange being a symbol of death.
Well, Bill, if you go to the classes there, they'll explain to you how the orange.
This scene coming up is probably one of the best jerk scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
When
I think it was and it was certainly by mistake.
Yeah, when I shoot this girl, man, it was something. I thought she was going through the wall.
Is this the one that winds up in the bathtub?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought she was going through the wall, man. They jerked her so hard.
Yeah.
I thought she was dead, man.
Yeah, they were trying to.
She got hurt too, didn't she? Did she get hurt a little bit?
She got hurt, but she was a trooper. I
Yeah,
mean,
she
she never
did.
complained.
No, but she was a hurt trooper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was all shot in that location. In this, all of these sets over here were all in that same location at the pier.
Ooh, baby. Where was I when it shot? The blue light shot.
Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of cool to see blood with blue light.
Did we supply some of that graffiti, Bill, or was it like that?
This was totally staged because this was just a clean office building, office of this pier company, shipping company. And here,
Gonna bust in on poor Willie.
You're ruining his party, Fred.
Hey, come on, take it easy. Girls, come on. What you guys, Grace? What are you doing, man? Come on.
And the reason he put on his T-shirt there was so that you could get some blood bags under the
exactly, exactly.
No, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, brother, but
I remember Richie Bright wanted to use a line. He wanted to say to you, I think we actually shot it where he says, kill him, and let God decide if he's innocent.
No, man. Wait. Mister, please.
Dead son.
There we go, second shot off screen. I like this, the boom down with the gun. Okay, here she is. She's doing the right thing. It's a good idea, pulling a gun on these four guys who came in heavily armed.
What? Bob's quitting the gang.
well, I got my retribution.
Yeah.
He got what he came for, and these guys are off.
Let's go.
The size of that gun. Oh. That shot, believe it or not, was actually optically slowed down.
Yeah, we saw it.
Because when you saw that when that was in dailies, she looked like she was just like flew, and so we had to optically slow it down so you
Yeah,
could
no,
see
you
it.
could see there was some kind of an effect there.
Boy, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And she had landed hard.
Yes, he did.
Oh God. This scene right here was shot on the opposite side of the street from the park.
Had a lot of fans out there that night.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of fans in some of these neighborhoods. Fred and Willie, they just people just went nuts. And these are optical flashes
I want all these reports
to simulate camera flashes. Here's Steve James again.
Randy.
exactly what I told you inside.
Yeah, Steve was a big fan of the Chinese movies before it became popular. He used to go down to Canal Street and check out all the Chinese films back in the early 70s and knew every single martial artist. He was just a...
Do you remember the first one that started it all?
Five Fingers of Death.
Death.
That's right.
5 Fingers of Death.
Yes, can I help you?
Where is this hospital? Is it the studio again?
No, this was,
the port, whatever it is.
This was in the Bronx. This, I think, was an abandoned hospital that we addressed this floor. Everything there we had to bring in. This was a totally empty wing.
Now, who is this guy, Bill?
Oh, where's my wife? She's gone. Is that the scene?
Yeah.
She isn't.
Well, we think that we're led to believe that maybe she's.
Didn't she do a flying leap?
No.
She has to show you the scars and all that, don't she?
Yeah.
She did already.
This is it. Build the guilt. Somebody had actually thought it would have been a good idea if Bob, we had set up the scene at the park where instead of it being a happy family, that that she was going to divorce you.
Yeah.
And so that this way, when she gets, or you wanted a divorce from her, and so that this way, when she gets attacked, it would add all this guilt for you. And so I took that idea and used it in Maniac Cop 1, because we did that with the Bruce Campbell character.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see it. How come we didn't see the scar, man?
It's called Good Taste.
Oh, please.
I have a family audience.
You said bad taste.
I've seen it, Bill.
I heard what you said.
Wait a minute, I've seen it. I've seen the video, didn't I?
What's
What, the
good
laser's
taste?
different?
It's in your imagination. That's like my Val Lewton thing.
You copped out, man. You didn't
I
show us
seen
the
it.
scar.
I'm pretty sure I've seen these scenes.
No, this is the uncut version.
He
This
copped
picture.
out. He didn't show us the scar.
Now this scene that's going to be coming up was shot under, I think it was the, I think it was the Long Island. Oh no, this is the shot that was on the balcony of the courthouse.
Rico gone?
Nice vista shot. I had no dialogue here. I didn't know what the hell to shoot. I just liked that backdrop. So all this dialogue here by Don Blakely is ADR'd, and I just came up with some stuff later on.
This is underneath the 59th Street Bridge.
I think it was the Long Island
This is the
Express.
shot you must have had some trouble with.
Yeah, this was a
Long Island
massive
Express.
lighting. Massive
No, I
lighting.
mean editing and the cutting for the MPA.
Yeah, this is what they made me trim.
Yeah.
What I had heard was that when this film played non-theatrically in prisons, the prisoners, when these police get shot, were giving big applauses in the theaters. Yeah, which is kind of interesting. One of the things I forgot to mention was in the scenes at Rikers Island. I went to see the film on 42nd Street, and I was sitting with the audience, and some of the audience were pointing to some of the cells, saying, "I spent some time in there. I know that cell. I know where this is."
That's me.
Listen, look. Nobody's around. Check the roofs.
The actor driving the car is Frank Gio, who's become a prominent character actor in Moonstruck, a few other things. This is one of his first jobs. This was interesting. When we shot this upcoming machine gun scene, we shot it one night, and all the squibs went off all around the car, exploding the windows, the dashboards, everything, except for the squibs on the actors. And I was wondering what was wrong when I looked at it. I said, this is something wrong here. I had to go back the next night, reconstruct this car, and fire off the squibs on the actors. So this was shot in 2 nights. That's why there's so much coverage. Yeah, this is with all its unrated glory. Yeah, that blood spurt right there was cut by the MPAA.
Had to cut the final shot too. This stuff they cut, right? They cut this.
Actually, this was left in. It was really just we cut that machine gunning in half for the MPAA. And this begins the next shot begins the final portion of the picture. I remember shooting this. It was Thanksgiving Eve.
I remember. This is where I have a dialogue with him.
Yes.
My lips were so cold I couldn't hardly get the words out, man. This was a real cold day.
Yeah, that's one thing. I all the films I've shot, including well, especially Maniac Cop 2, but all the films I've shot in New York have always been in the coldest days.
But I like my wardrobe. I picked my coat for this scene. I went out and shopping and I picked this sucker.
Works.
Was fur lined inside, fur collar. This sucker was warm. It was a warm coat, man.
Well, see, Bob, you should have gone out and picked your wardrobe. You had this thin jacket. Poor you. But I remember shooting this on Thanksgiving Eve, and the crew going to me, "Listen, we want to go home and see our families." They had it with these long days. And I had a wrap shooting on this scene by 6 o'clock, or they were going to wrap for me.
What was the
So this
logo
was-
for the picture, Bill? Vigilante, and then what? What was? Did you have any logo for this.
You can't stop them or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's something like that.
Nothing can stop them. But this was a nice scene here.
Wonder what
This
happened
was
to you. How's it
Bob
going?
packing up his home and getting out of there.
He's not coming back, that's how it's going.
Let's see. You blame yourself, huh? Is that why you're running?
I'm getting out of here as fast as I can.
So in order that I get out of there in time, I put the zoom lens on the camera coming up, and so the scene by the truck was shot with two zooms, a zoom into Fred and a zoom into Bob, so I didn't have to get close-ups. I just do it all in one shot.
Yeah.
So we just did matching zooms. It's the only time we think we used it. Yeah, that is the only time I used a zoom in the picture.
That's the way I shoot all the time, man. Always got 2 zooms on 2 people.
Frank, what is it that Fred says to you when you work on his films?
You do bad, you're gonna look bad. Because I wanted to do my actor studio stuff and warm up with Fred to my characters and that. Fred takes 1 take, 2 takes if you're lucky, and that's it. He's moving. And he wouldn't let me ham it up
You
one
do
day.
bad, you look bad.
Right?
That's great. I happen to have.
Then he says,
I've stolen
concentrate,
that-
concentrate, Frank,
Yeah,
concentrate.
that keeps him serious.
I know. I've said it to actors. I don't give you credit for it, but it always gets a laugh. Here it is, the zoom in, and the matching zoom on the other side. Look at the smoke coming out of your mouth. You can
I
tell
was
how
freezing.
cold.
My lips were
Look at
Yeah,
that.
this works, Bill. And you know, it's like you could have done this any better.
After they finish turning this neighborhood into a cesspool, what makes you think they're not gonna look up at that high mountain of ours and want that too? The word is out on the street, man. The bottom is about to fall out. They want us bad, but they're coming after you first. These are our homes.
Boy, look at these shots. Couldn't make you look any better, Fred.
It's me, Frank. What do you want?
I know.
It's me.
Yeah,
Fight for it.
that's a nice scene.
Me and Father Time, we have a great reunion, man. We love each other.
Is this where I run, chase?
Yeah.
How many times did I do this?
God.
Oh, my legs.
Over here on the soundtrack, it's funny. I was contractually obligated to put 5 songs in the movie, and I could only find 4 places for songs in the film.
Yeah.
You know, radios and things like that. So what I did is, as you're driving,
Yeah.
in the mix, I mixed in it as though you had passed a record shop, and
they
so
had
I
something
slipped in
playing.
the 5th. I slipped in the 5th song that way.
Yes.
What was the song?
It was
The
Doppler
popular
effect.
song,
Yeah, it was kind of a Doppler effect, exactly.
What was it? Willie Colon song? Or was
It was a Willie Colon,
Yeah.
and I had to use 5 of them, and I put one as a leak coming from a store.
Uh-oh, we know who you are.
Oh, look at that movie equipment, a clamp.
You got a problem, chump?
Uh-oh.
You got a problem, chump? Yeah.
Now, one of the things I learned about shooting this
Truck wouldn't
this
open.
scene over here was the fact that you can balance light in a lab, and I was convinced that I would have a problem if I didn't shoot this whole scene in overcast. And it's so ridiculous today to think
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
and but I did it, and it was a mistake, and I learned.
No, you
What's
can,
what? What is the problem?
well, you can balance it in the lab. I mean, it's not a
And
problem.
also, the shots are moving so fast that if they're paying attention to that, then something is wrong.
Even knock knees, rubbing them down each other. With all that speed Bob is generating there.
Bill, where's this? Long Island City?
This was, I think, in Brooklyn, right here. It was near,
I'm moving.
God, I forget the name of the streets now. Another thing I learned was you don't use this kind of car. I forgot that. I think this is like a Toyota or a Mazda or something. In a car chase, because it's very difficult for the stunt people to maneuver that kind of car. So, but I got locked into it. This car here, I think it's a Toyota.
See, 280, yeah, 280Z.
Datsun?
Normally
Yeah,
it's
Datsun.
Lincolns, Caddies.
That's a Datsun,
The
yeah.
chase cars. Lincolns get used a lot.
Yeah, because they're easy to maneuver. This car was a good car to maneuver, except that by the time I had to do all the shots with Bob, this car was a death trap. And poor Bob. Because the stunt people had already kind of beat it to death. A lot of these shots here were shot wild because we just didn't have the personnel to block off all the streets. So Randy Jurgensen, we took advantage of his Gold Shield detective badge and went out there and shot a lot of this stuff without permission and without permits. Especially this right here. This shot right here is very, very dangerous because anybody could have stepped out from one of these cars. I mean, we didn't own these cars here, and we didn't own the street.
No, we were just stealing some of this stuff.
It's fun stuff. Man.
One of the things I learned in shooting in post-production on this was I spent a lot of time in post-production putting in all the sound effects for this scene because I really wanted the sound effects home. And when I put the music on here, I found that a lot of the sound effects got lost.
Yeah.
So today, when I'm doing the sound editing on pictures, I think about what music is going on at first, and then supplement whatever sounds are necessary, because you don't need everything. You just need whatever is going to cut through, because there's only so much room in the optical track. That shot just there where the car, the 280Z jammed on its brakes, the stuntman actually almost hit the telephone pole. Yeah, these POV shots were all shot.
Who is the stunt guy, Bill? Alex Stevens?
Alex Stevens, yeah, was the stunt guy. And Randy Jurgensen actually drove a lot of the scenes with the Datsun, and we got into trouble with Screen Actors Guild because Randy Jurgensen put on blackface and a wig. And
Who reported that?
I don't know, Fred, who did?
Yeah, me, dude.
Somebody reported it. It was
I wasn't
like,
around. I was going home by then.
yeah, but oh God.
Maybe that guy you hired as a judge, was he around there?
No, I think what happened, oh, I know what happened. One day the rep came down, and we had just finished doing a shot with Randy Jurgensen driving the Datsun, and Randy gets out of the car, and the rep looks over and goes, "What's going on over here?" So...
That's the judge, right?
No, it wasn't. It was another rep. It was another SAG rep. And he was like totally irate. He goes, "Do you know what you're doing? This is obscene what you're doing over here."
Can't do that anymore.
No. So that jump, that POV, we unfortunately the cameraman got hurt when we were doing the POV with the bump. We had a camera in the back of the Datsun doing a POV shot, and the cameraman fell out of the back of the Datsun. Well, he injured his thumb,
Yeah.
and from that injury on his thumb, he made enough money from our insurance company to buy a camera equipment house, and he's in business today because of hurting himself on this movie. So he ought to be grateful. Here's where the music came hot and heavy, and I love the shot coming up here. This one with the steering wheel, I like this. See the guy back there. These are shots you can't get when it's panned and scanned. That's what's great about Laserdisc and letterboxing. Now here was a shot coming up where I was operating the camera. There's a low-angle shot over here, and I didn't realize it looking through the lens, but the back of the car came right at me, right here, boom. And I narrowly missed it.
Oh, Bill.
Oh, Fred, let me put a little drama.
Yeah.
You gave your injury of the knee. I had to do some kind of sacrifice in this movie. Here's where I had all these sound effects of the engine and all the steam and water dripping and all kinds of, every sound effect you can imagine. As soon as we laid the music on, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Every bit of it. Now, working up here was kind of treacherous because everything up here was covered with grease. And it was like ice. It was not only cold, where your fingers would stick to the metal, but it was also slippery. And it was quite challenging to work over there. That American flag, some people have pointed out the American flag as though it was like some symbolic thing that we did in the picture. But it was actually something that was already there.
It does to me.
Oh.
There it is. I think that was a 60-foot high fall backwards.
Yeah, most guys don't like to do that. Stuntmen don't like to go backwards.
No, they hate it. They charge you the most when they go backwards. Now, his brain's down there, by the way. When we first shot that POV shot, we had the fake blood. And then I didn't like the way it looked, so I went to the craft service table and got cream cheese. And I threw some cream cheese around him and covered it with blood to make it look a little juicier.
Yike. Here's my favorite part. Everybody gets what they deserve.
I know. This is a
Including the
catharsis.
judge.
Yes.
This is a catharsis for me for other reasons, as I mentioned earlier.
I remember one time, Bill, and this was, I can't remember exactly what the issue was, but I said, Bill, now look, I got to know the truth about this thing. You got to tell me what's true here, because otherwise somebody else's money, I think, was involved. And the most honest remark I ever heard from a guy, I said, Bill, is it true or not? And he took a long pause and he said, Bob, I'm a producer.
Oh.
Whatever has to be said to get the picture done, Bill Lustig got it done.
Oh.
Well, here we go. A little going full circle with the kids' remote.
Ahead of your time, Bill.
I remember to light down in Wall Street over there, we had to pull all the cable that was in the equipment house to be able to light some of the buildings. Now, this shot right here, where the truck pulls away, in a lot of the countries, and it was interesting, it was the countries that had like dictators, like the Philippines and, you know, places that were really government controlled. They made me superimpose a title over here, which stated that that the character that Bob played was caught and convicted for having done what he did, and is now in jail and so on and so forth.
Sentence.
Yeah, it was, and that was the,
So everybody
the end of it.
Everybody got their dues. Even
I didn't
you.
die in this movie. That's all. No one can kill
You're going
me.
to
No,
come back
but
in
you-
Vigilante 3, Frank.
Vigilante
You're going to be
3.
ahead of the
You
game.
changed your ways after the window scene, Frank. You saw the light.
Well,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people who put a lot of hard work into this film,
Yeah.
and I want to thank Bob and Frank and
It was
Fred.
a lot of fun. It was great. It was great. We met. We had some friendships that have carried on. Since.
Yes. Oh, we've all worked in pictures since.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was all, yes, on your picture we started.
I know
yeah, we all
it's
started on that Vigilante.
I know it's interesting because of
South
all the
Beach.
films I've done, and this film was the one that carried friendships out of it. The other films I've done, it's sort of like, you know, you're there, you work with the people, and then you go off in separate places. But because we were working in such battlefield conditions, I think we all sort of
No, I think we're just having fun. We're having a good time. We were relating to each other, and we just had a real good time. And
And we had some good times in Cannes on account of, remember when
You
Bill
went there for
opened up my
Vigilante?
life, opened up
You
my
all
life
went there
by
for
taking me to
Vigilante?
Cannes. Yeah.
The Vigilante? You were all there fucking Vigilante?
no, he wouldn't take me. You know.
He was.
Oh, Fred!
No, no, he didn't take me.
Fred had
No.
3 or 4 other pictures. He was.
Fred was doing 10 pictures at the
Fred
same
had his
time.
own stuff
That's
going
the
on.
way out. He's saying that's.
Oh,
the way
I'm
out.
shocked.
They didn't even ask me.
Well, I didn't go either.
Didn't even give me the
You were there for Vigilante?
privilege to
Oh,
say
it
no.
was
Fucking
great.
Vigilante.
It was great. You never saw anything as good as
What
that.
was the reaction to
Frank,
Khan?
if
Don't
you ever-
lie. What was the reaction to the picture of Khan?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
Oh,
they loved
hey,
it. No, I
you
got the
re-
feedback. I got
Yeah.
the feedback.
And you weren't there at the...
They went nuts when we screened this. When we screened this at the Olympia One Theater in Cannes,
They applauded?
they
Screamed.
applauded, they screamed, they went nuts in the theater. We were like, it
All
was
my
great.
foreign buyers who I saw my films called me and told me how well this thing was received. That's how I knew it was big in Germany. That was the first call I got was Germany. They really.
You weren't in
Also,
Khan?
the soundtrack.
I didn't get
was
invited
huge.
like you.
No,
Frank.
I
remember-
didn't get invited either. He took Bob.
I remember, Fred, a buyer from Sri Lanka coming over to me, and he kept nudging me all the time, and he goes, "I pay $1,500 for Fred Williamson films. I pay $2,500 for your movie. This is a great Fred Williamson movie. This is a great Fred Williamson movie."
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. And this guy, it was the most important deal of his life was this picture.
Europe.
It was great.
You remember what Irv Shapiro said about deal making?
Oh,
Irv Shapiro was your film salesman. He's now dead.
yes.
But he was one of the great film salesmen of all times. He
Aye.
sold from the silent era till the day he died. And we were trying to make a deal with the guys from Germany. And I, of course, an amateur, and I said to him, Irv, are we going to make a deal, do you think, with the Germans? And he said, Robert, he said, it won't be a deal when I make it, he said, and it won't be a deal when the lawyers finish with it. He said, and it won't be a deal when they send us the check. He said, it'll only be a deal when the money is spent and can no longer be returned. That's when a deal is a deal. And he said, and there's only 400 ways to break the ironclad deal.
Real
One of
optimistic
the things that Irvin said to me one time, anytime I would dilly-dally or anytime I would hesitate in doing a deal, he said, "Bill, just remember one thing. Movies don't age like wine, they age like fish." Close the deal and go on.
Close the deal and move.